inappropriate concept.
Sure.
The Village of Hainesville regular board meeting will now come to order on Tuesday, October 9th at 7:02 p.m. If everybody will please rise and I'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Linda Soto.
Present.
Trustees Darnowski.
Here.
Priest.
Here.
Duberstein.
Here.
Garrett. Daly.
Here.
And Washington.
Here.
Okay, we have a full board tonight, so we are definitely in quorum. If I can have a motion for approval of tonight's agenda.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustees Darnowski.
Aye.
Priest.
Aye.
Duberstein. Aye. Garrett. Daly. And Washington.
Aye.
I'm still here, too.
Okay, at this time we take public comments. I want you to hold back the crowds and control yourself. Do we have anybody turn in a form to speak to the clerk? No takers. Going. Do we have a motion for approval of tonight's omnibus vote agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Who's so moved?
John seconded.
Thank you. They do, it's hard to tell.
You sound a lot alike down there, so.
Trustees Darnowski.
Aye.
Priest.
Aye.
Duberstein. Aye. Barrett.
Yes.
Daly.
Aye.
Washington.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, we'll move on to reports and communications from our officers and the mayor. And we'll start with our village engineer, Greg Ruin.
Thanks, Mayor. We've been busy paving the HainesvilleIL subdivision. All that work is complete. The only thing that remains is the striping. Everything went really well out there. The contractor, Peter Baker, did a really good job. It took them 3 days to patch the road up. There was only about a 3 or 4 day delay until they got their paving crew out there. They swept the streets continually. I can't say enough about them. They really did a really good job. Only took them 2 days to pave out there. We wound up patching about 10 to 12% of the road before we paved. And then as far as the asphalt is concerned, we actually put down a full 1.5 inches over the entire road. We also built up the crown of the road a little bit, so if you look closely, you can see that before the road was basically flat from curb to curb. Now we've got at least 2.5 to 3 inches of pitch on the road, so that'll help with drainage long term. We did use less asphalt than we had estimated and that we had put in the bid quantities. So the bid came in at roughly $311,000. We will be under that number when the final bids or when the final numbers get tallied from Peter Baker. So that's a good thing.
Quick question, Greg. What do you think in your professional estimation was causing damage, considering that we don't have a bunch of truck traffic and things like that running through our town? Is it just water under the pavement or crack ceiling? Or
I think it was a combination of things. I would say there was a lack of attention to the road for about 10 years. These roads should last you about 15 years. But years 3, 4, and 5, you're going to do some crack filling on it. That seam, the paving machine's only 12 feet wide, so there's really a cold joint right at the crown of the road.
Yeah, right at the crown.
That's going to develop a crack first, no matter what we do. So that really needs to be sealed those years 3 through 5. Also, if you looked at the road prior to what we did, there really was no lip at the curb. But the asphalt meets the curb. The asphalt really should be about at least flush, if not a 1/4 inch above the curb. After a small rainstorm, you'll notice prior to our paving operation that the just sit maybe a foot to 2 feet away from that curb line. And any kind of water just sits there, it seeps into that pavement, freeze thaw in this area, and just winds up breaking up the pavement. So I would say lack of attention to detail initially, and lack of maintenance in those.
And that pitch helps the water drain. That's why you put that crown in there.
The crown, and also there's a little lip at that curb right there.
Yeah.
They did a good job out there.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the contractor. And we've already had a few residents from Misty Hill shoot a few emails over. They're very appreciative. So.
Excellent, good. As far as the water tower is concerned, like I said, the bids were favorable last couple weeks. I know Beaver went over that with you. We would anticipate roughly an April 15th start date, and probably a 6 to 8 week project to complete that water tower painting in the spring.
I have an update that I don't know if Rick relayed to you.
Okay. Great. Start tomorrow.
Actually, the work will not start till May 1 or after, weather permitting, because we're delaying the job.
Okay.
And we're going to move it to next year's budget. The work cannot start till May 1. That was the conclusion we all came to after checking with the auditor.
Great. Well, April 15th would be about the earliest you could get to it, so you're only losing a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And then as far as Route 120, I did get in contact with Terry Heffron. He's with the IDOT's programming department, and they will be checking with his staff and developing a list of the upcoming projects for Route 120 that IDOT has planned in their 2013-2018 plan.
And hopefully we'll be getting the finalized 2013 plan.
Correct.
That's one of the big mysteries.
Have you heard anything yet on the Rollins Road, Hainesville Road, Railroad Flyover Bridge project yet?
I have not.
Because that's going to be a nightmare where they'll probably divert everything down Hainesville Road, we're going to have a lot of traffic pumped into our town, trying to bypass that.
So one part of that project is, if and when it happens, is a bypass near the current rail station up here. So,
Washington.
On Washington. So Washington will not be cut off, will be diverted around through some vacant property and the current railroad property. It'll start east of the track, go north, roughly a block, come west to the very edge of that neighborhood of the north side, and then drop back down to Washington.
Okay.
But if Rollins is closed completely, you're right, we're going to get a lot of traffic.
It was bad enough when you had tracks closed for, just maintenance away for, for a week there. It was just like, you couldn't get out of our subdivision.
And it backs up.
This is interesting, yeah.
We're going to put up a toll gate. They don't want to call.
I vote yes, charge them.
Well, let's
What would I
have confidence. I don't know if everybody noticed. If you all recall that Marty Bueller, the head of Lake County DOT, retired. Well-deserved retirement after 39 years. We acknowledged him at our spring ribbon cutting of the bike path. And Paula Trigg became the interim director of Lake County DOT. And so the Lake County Board recently voted to make her permanent director of Lake County DOT. So in fact, I just sent off a congratulatory note to her. Hope to be having lunch with her soon. So I'm confident that Paula will do her best to see us through that fun
Sure she will.
construction project.
You know, there is historic precedent for a toll road in Hainesville.
There is.
Yes, there is.
And I'm all for bringing Old Plank Road back. And their price margin on their tolls. They had a pretty hefty toll for back in those days. It was a dime. It was big money back then.
We could also renew our reputation as a speed trap.
Well, we can't if we can't get traffic to move.
Maybe they go somewhere else. Go to Washington.
Okay, Greg.
I'm sorry, I digressed, I took this out all the way, okay, my bad.
We're gonna get back to the engineer.
That's all I have.
Okay. We'll move on to the village attorney, Tim Rock.
Thank you. This evening we have on the agenda an ordinance that we prepared that addresses video gaming within the corporate limits of the village. We've been in contact in the past several weeks with a court-appointed receiver in the foreclosure action for the northeast corner of Hainesville Road and Route 120. The property doesn't include Walgreens, it's the piece that includes Starbucks. The receiver is to receive all revenues that would go to those properties, and the village has a sales tax rebate agreement with the owner of that property. And so, interestingly enough, though, that Starbucks had not submitted the paperwork to allow it to receive the sales tax rebate, but they recently did. We're going to be reviewing what we get back from the state in terms of those reports and making a determination about what next steps to take. There could be several years in arrears of sales tax involved, which could impact the other property. So we'll take this one step at a time and keep the board informed on how this goes.
We could be in arrears?
No, well, the village doesn't owe them anything at this point because they failed to request the money. And there are limits on both the dollar amount and the number of years to which the village is committed to the agreement. But we haven't reached those maximums at this point. And so essentially what would happen is any payment to the receiver for this would just reduce payments to other parties.
Because we're not that far away from completing the payment.
Right, I mean, Walgreens has been the main benefactor.
Yes, yeah, you're correct. Actually, Rubloff.
Rubloff, yeah.
And there hasn't been an awful lot of business in there. There was that hair shop, and there was one cell phone shop, and that's been it.
Well, and you understand, it's Rubloff lost the property.
Okay. The only business that has been receiving the only that's generated the sales tax that would be rebated is Walgreens at this point.
All right. So the strip mall is in foreclosure. And what about the next lot? The third
The
page.
bank, where the bank was supposed to.
Yeah, the vacant one that's sitting there not doing anything.
That's all right now, what's the name of the management company that they put in charge of it, that's what we're working with?
Actually, I'm working with the receiver, court-appointed receiver, so
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
yeah. The bank has a management company overseeing that right now, the whole, including that property.
Rubloff didn't keep that?
No.
Okay, so they sold that off already.
Well,
No,
it's
it's
being
being
foreclosed, it's being
That's
foreclosed.
what I mean.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's all-
Yeah, it hasn't gone up for a sheriff's sale or anything like that.
Yes.
Anybody want to buy a strip mall?
And then just based on the board's decision at its last meeting, we drafted a letter to the attorney for Cranberry Lake North condominiums regarding hardship requests for rentals in the units above 20% of the total units. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Public Works Superintendent Jeff Gable.
No report. Just kidding.
He's kidding.
Basically, I'm just going to reiterate what Greg said. Misty Hill actually came out really, really nice. For all the paving jobs that we've actually done in town, this has been the cleanest, and I think the most professional job we've had. So hopefully we're going to get the 15 years out of the streets now that we have a good solid program going. Other than that, I've been getting, dare I say this, prepared for winter, because it's coming. So we're getting ready to service the snow plows, get the trucks ready, get everything switched around to winter mode. The only other thing that's pending right now, we had a lift station pump failure over on Wilson Drive that happened last week. We're running on one pump. We're fine running on